Hi there, so excited to be with you guys today. What we're going to talk about today is Google Slides. So Google Slides is great for preschool when you want to build some interactive activities for kiddos. It saves a lot of time on cutting, copying, laminating, worrying about if the pieces get chewed up or thrown across the room and things like that. It also is highly engaging for kiddos. It's very visual, it's very hands-on. What we're going to look at today is ways you can build those interactive activities, and we'll also talk a little bit about how it's a great way to showcase learning for parents when it comes to case conference time. So first, I want to show you a couple of examples of different ways or different activities you could build in Google Slides. There's a lot of different things you can do. These are just a couple of examples. So this first one that I have here is name building. So this is where the student can just simply click and drag down the different text boxes to go through and build their name. Okay, I also have one here for colors. So the student could click and drag the pictures to the appropriate box. So they could identify what color the object is. Okay, this one here is more of a counting one-to-one. So the students could count the dots up here and then they could drag the number that shows how many objects are in that box. And the nice part about this is that you can really create a custom slide deck for each kiddo for their IEP goals. So it makes it really quick for them to practice and also really quick for you to assess how they're doing on their IEP goals. So what we'll do now is we'll walk through how to build these different templates. Throughout this video, what I'll do is I will go ahead and have you stop and practice on your own and make a couple, and then whoever is running the video can just hit play when you guys are ready for the next part. Alright guys, so what I'm going to show you now is how to actually build some of these templates for your students. These templates can be made in Google Slides pretty easily with just pictures, text boxes, and shapes. So we'll walk through each of those three tools, and then we'll give you time to think of a student in your class, think about their IEP goals, and maybe build a slide deck for their specific IEP goals. So when you're building your slide deck or your activities for your kiddos, you're going to start with a blank slideshow. And again, if you remember from our earlier Google Drive training, you can get there by going to New and Google Slides, or you can simply go to slides.google.com. All right, so I'm going to start my new presentation. As I'm going through this video, I encourage you guys as a group, if you need to pause the video, please pause the video. If you need to go back and listen to parts again, I encourage you to do that. Just kind of go at your own pace with this today. So I have my slideshow here. You'll notice that by default, it automatically makes a slideshow for me with some different text boxes. For our purpose, we're going to want just a blank layout. So I'm going to come up here to Layout and choose Blank. Okay. Now, when I add additional slides, you'll notice that it still is giving me kind of a funky layout. So what I want to do instead of hitting this plus button, I'm going to come over here and choose blank, okay? And I can keep choosing blank until I get the number of slides that I want, okay? Now, remember those three tools that we talked about, text boxes, shapes, and adding images. So let's look at text boxes first. Text boxes are easy to add. You'll notice that up in this little square with the T, when I click on text box, and I come down on the slide, now my mouse is in the shape of a T. So if I click and drag, it's going to make a box for me. In that box, I could type a T, okay, or any type of letter or number that I would need. Okay, I can highlight it and I can change the size to make it larger. Okay, if I wanted a different color, I can choose this paint bucket up here, and I can also make it yellow. Okay, I like my letters to be in the center of my tile, so I can also come over here to this Align button, and do you see how these lines are stacked up toward the center? I can choose Center to go ahead and center that. Okay, now the other thing that we talked about was adding shapes. Adding shapes you saw when we did that one-to-one correspondence one. So shapes can be found right here. When I click on the shapes, I have a lot of choices for shapes. If I were wanting to do more of a counting activity for my students, I could choose that circle one. And then I'm going to click and drag to make the size of circle that I want. All right, just like with this text box, again, I can also change the color if I'd like to. Okay, once you have your circle how you want it, what you can also do is go ahead and right click and do copy, paste to go ahead and make sure you get another circle that's the exact same size and the exact same color. Okay, now if you want to add some extra flair to your activities, you can also add some cute borders, which I know are super fun in preschool. So up here where it says borders, you can choose a dashed border or a different style of border if you'd like. And you can also make it a little bit thicker. Okay, those aren't super necessary, but they just add some extra fun if you'd like to do that. All right, so we have our text boxes here, we have our shapes here, and the last part that we're going to look at is how to add in some images. So those images that I use in my example was when I was having students sort things of different colors. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go up to Insert, or I could also do it here as well. Image. And then I have a couple of different options. I can take a picture directly in Google Slides if I need a picture of the student or I need a picture of myself in there. I could also add in it by links. But what I did for my color sorting activity is I chose this option that says search from web. And then I went ahead and searched images that I needed the students to sort. So I typed in blue car, for example. And then I went ahead and selected the blue car I thought best met my needs. And then I came down here and hit insert. Now, when the image comes onto your slide, it's going to be much larger than what you need it. To make sure that you are resizing your image but keeping the same proportions, always try to click and drag from the corner. Okay, that will allow you to resize the object to the size you need but still keep the same proportions. Okay, so now that we've learned about text boxes, shapes, borders, and how to add images, I want you to think about a student that you have in your class and see if you can create an activity that meets their IEP goal. Thanks so much.